calling me now. And that's the problem that I have with this whole situation. But I am going to save this conversation for Jay-Z. Jay-Z, you're watching. I know you're watching because you got people calling me. Stop having people call me. You can call me yourself. You know how to get my number. You know you got people calling me. Call me yourself, because this right here is going to go viral. The way my job works on the internet, everybody's going to be clipping, sharing on TikTok.
They say the bigger the star, the harder the fall, and right now that saying is hovering over Beyonce in a major way. This is not just another messy headline or celebrity gossip moment. This situation is being framed as something far more serious unfolding behind the scenes. According to the claims swirling around, Beyonce is allegedly facing the possibility of a federal-level investigation, and the person making noise is not a random blogger or a bitter former associate. It is a podcast host who reportedly has a direct connection to her husband and says he is sitting on recordings that could cause massive legal trouble. What makes this even wilder is the bold energy behind it all. This man is publicly daring her team to respond, acting fearless and suggesting he cannot be intimidated, which is not the usual move when someone is bluffing. We have seen celebrities scramble before with denials and carefully crafted statements, but this feels different. Reports suggest her legal team may already be reaching out, trying to shut things down before anything is even released. And that does not look like calm confidence. If these claims turn out to be real, this is not just about image damage. This could be a full-blown legal and PR war playing out in real time, with phone calls, lawyer pressure, and public taunts flying back and forth for everyone to see. The contradiction here is impossible to ignore, and it raises serious questions. If Jason Lee supposedly had not gone public yet, why would Beyonce's team feel the need to reach out at all? That is not strategic damage control. That looks like outright panic, and panic usually means something real is burning behind the scenes.
Love the fact that we work in an industry where we get to meet people that we actually are fans of. We don't become people who don't have special celebrities to them because we work in entertainment. Like,
we love certain people too.
We love certain people, and Beyonce is definitely probably the one and only at that level for me.
Lee has made it clear that he is not backing down, and this is not empty talk. On his podcast, he directly addressed Jay-Z by name, saying, "Stop having people call me," and then added, "You can call me yourself," which instantly turned the heat way up. Things got even darker when Lee dropped a chilling statement, saying that if he were to go missing, all the calls he had been receiving would point back to him. That is not something someone says casually. That is something said by a person who believes they are holding serious leverage. At the same time, Beyonce has stayed completely silent. No denials, no lawsuits, no carefully worded statements, just silence. And in a moment like this, silence does not look calm or confident, it looks suspicious. The bigger question is, what she knows that the public does not.
And it was pretty much said like, Jay doesn't really want awards. Well, he go to the Grammys.
Right.
He come into the Black-owned spaces. Let's figure out how to work together so that way we have the relationship when it matters, not when it's convenient for you and your image. Because they all call us when the story.
Lee is not just teasing recordings. He is openly suggesting they could end careers and lead to prison. And those are the stakes he keeps laying out. The timing makes this even more explosive. Diddy is already behind bars. A new documentary has reignited public scrutiny, and 50 Cent is openly calling out Jay-Z over alleged connections, making the pressure impossible to ignore. This is not just about silencing one voice. It looks like a race to buy time. But Jason Lee is not the only one speaking, and others are no longer whispering. They are naming names that reach straight to the top. To understand how it reached this point, we have to rewind. Because Beyonce and Jay-Z spent decades building an untouchable image, and now the cracks are impossible to hide. Back in 2016, Lemonade dropped and everything shifted. The world learned Jay-Z had been unfaithful. Then came the infamous elevator moment with Solange, non-stop divorce rumors, and quiet chatter about connections to Diddy's private gatherings. But this moment is not about cheating or image repair. This is about something far heavier, potential legal exposure, and it is not coming from just one voice. Earlier this year, a lawsuit claimed Diddy, Jay-Z, and Beyonce were present at a 2015 event where a man was allegedly drugged and humiliated. And while their lawyers later proved they were not there and the names were removed, the damage to public trust had already been done. That raised a bigger question that never went away. If they were not at that event, Where were they? And what else has never been fully explained?
So what happens now is this is simply a civil complaint. And in a civil complaint, it goes through the technical legal process. Now, the distinction, Jessica, between civil and criminal, of course, is that civil is for monetary damages, right? The system can only reward you with money. There's allegations that this 13-year-old is suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, suffered depression, etc. So now you go to fact.
Fast forward to September 2024, and everything escalates fast. Diddy is arrested on federal charges tied to trafficking-related allegations, racketeering, and transportation for alleged illegal activity, with a trial scheduled for May 2025 and reports of evidence and witness testimony stacking up. At the same time, Jay-Z is named in a lawsuit involving an allegation connected to events from 2000 involving a minor, which he strongly denies, calling it blackmail and saying he will fight it fully in court. The timing is impossible to ignore. Federal investigators are digging deeper, the public is watching closely, and Beyonce is now caught in the middle of the fallout, which pulls everything right back to Jason Lee and why his claims suddenly matter so much. Jason Lee is not some random blogger chasing clicks. He has real industry connections, a major platform, and now claims he holds leverage that could shake the most powerful couple in music to their core. His allegations are no longer just about Diddy's parties or rumors floating around the industry. He is suggesting that Beyonce was not simply nearby or unaware, but an active participant. And if that claim holds any weight, this stops being about image problems and turns into something far more serious. This is where the stakes jump to another level. We are talking about potential RICO-level exposure, alleged ties to convicted individuals' operations, and a husband who is already facing legal pressure of his own. Jay-Z was named in that lawsuit tied to events from 2000, which he has firmly denied, calling it an attempt at extortion. But the legal team on the other side is not backing off. With federal investigators digging deeper into Diddy's empire and documentaries exposing alleged misconduct, the real question is not whether more names will surface. It is when. Beyonce's team can see the storm forming, and if Jason Lee truly has what he claims, this is not about shutting down noise. It is about staying afloat. But survival may not be guaranteed. This is bigger than one podcast or one lawsuit. It points to a long-running pattern, a culture built behind closed doors, and Beyonce and Jay-Z are not standing on the sidelines. They are positioned at the center of it all. On December 20th, 2024, 50 Cent's documentary on Diddy dropped, peeling back years of alleged misconduct, including footage where Diddy is heard saying he needed someone experienced in the dirtiest of dirty business, and that moment sent shockwaves through the industry.
After that major documentary comes out on Diddy, then you're going to start to hear more and more about Jay-Z and his nefarious.
And standing right beside Diddy during his rise was Jay-Z. Their relationship goes all the way back to the 1990s, through nightclub chaos, legal trouble, major business moves, and endless public appearances where they celebrated wins and built empires side by side. They were photographed together, praised together, and treated like untouchable power players. And now both names are showing up in lawsuits that allege serious wrongdoing. Jay-Z's legal team has fired back hard, calling the accusations heinous and labeling them as blackmail. But here is the part that makes people pause. Blackmail only works when there is something someone does not want exposed. And Diddy's collapse has shown that secrets have a way of coming out no matter how much money or influence is involved. At the same time, Beyonce is still moving forward like nothing is wrong. She is scheduled to headline the Super Bowl halftime show in 2026, planning a global tour and maintaining her status as a cultural powerhouse. She is still seen as royalty in the industry, but even queens can fall. If recordings really exist, if federal investigators are paying attention, and if the next lawsuit names the right person at the right moment, an empire does not just crack, it collapses. That is why Jason Lee's claims feel so unsettling. He is not just threatening embarrassment, he is threatening to flip Beyonce's entire legacy from icon to alleged accomplice in the public eye. And in a world where Diddy is already facing serious legal consequences and Jay-Z is battling lawsuits, the real question is not whether the dominoes fall, it is how fast. What has not been fully addressed yet makes this even bigger. Lee claims the calls are not only coming from Beyonce's team, but from Jay-Z's side as well. And if Jay-Z is personally involved or sending people to reach out, that signals fear, not confidence. Jay-Z is not known for getting scared, and that alone says a lot. If fear is showing now, it suggests the stakes are way higher than anyone is admitting publicly. Insiders claim the couple's legal team is working nonstop. Lawyers are being hired, strategies are being mapped out, and pressure is coming from every angle. But there is a major flaw in that plan. You cannot sue a podcast host for what he is thinking about releasing. You cannot stop federal investigators from digging, and you cannot erase the past when that past may be recorded and preserved.
We do have some breaking news that we want to bring to you. It was being reported by TMZ and now Fox News. We are learning that Jay-Z is accused of a 13-year-old girl. That is new in the Diddy lawsuit.
So what happens next? One thing is already clear. Jason Lee is not finished, and neither are the people who have waited years for their chance to speak up. The real question is how the next reveal lands. Will it slip out quietly, or will it explode? Because right now, inside legal war rooms, industry offices, and media spaces, the tension is obvious. Beyonce is not just protecting her image anymore. She is fighting for her future, and time is clearly not on her side.
And I'm not saying allegedly.
Oh.
I'm saying, Sean Carter, you're a piece of shit. Taking Pimp C wasn't bad enough. You just want to go down there and you want to just remove all of the balls from every real gangster in Houston.
While her legal team was allegedly pressuring Jason Lee, another media figure suddenly changed course publicly. Journalist Piers Morgan, who previously aired Jaguar Wright's claims about Jay-Z, edited his own interview after legal pressure was applied. That was not just an apology moment. The interview itself was altered, and that kind of move does not happen unless someone feels exposed. Ask yourself why Beyonce's team would care about an old interview resurfacing. Why step in unless the claims hit far too close to home? This is no longer about silencing a single voice. It looks like an effort to erase the record completely. And when history starts getting rewritten, it sends a clear message. Trying to bury the past does not make it disappear. It usually means the truth is dangerous enough that someone is afraid of what happens if it stays visible. Let's talk about the history behind all of this, because the timeline matters.
Weirdo. Now you know what you got in your head, that neural link. You'll never outthink me. Ever.
In October 2024, a Jane Doe filed a lawsuit accusing Diddy and an unnamed male celebrity of assault at a house party back in 2000 when she was 13 years old, and the allegation immediately sent shockwaves. 2 months later, that same lawsuit was amended to name Jay-Z as a second man allegedly involved. What made the situation even more intense is that Beyonce was his girlfriend at the time, which instantly pulled her name into the conversation whether she wanted it there or not. According to court filings, the accuser's legal team initially referenced an unnamed female celebrity who was allegedly present in the room during the incident. Beyonce was never formally accused, but her name hovered close enough that her legal team moved fast to intervene. After that intervention, her name was removed, not because the entire claim was ruled false, but because her lawyers presented evidence that she was not at that specific party. That raised a new question that refuses to go away. Prove to who and what else is still being kept out of view. If Beyonce was not in that room, then who was? And why did her team work so aggressively to create distance unless the stakes were higher than they appear? Then there is the Star Island home owned by the Estefan family, connected to another lawsuit involving alleged events from 2015. This was not a random property. It was known in industry circles as a frequent gathering spot for Beyonce and Jay-Z during the mid-2010s. A plaintiff claimed he was taken there, given a drink that left him disoriented and later humiliated in front of high-profile guests. That lawsuit originally listed Beyonce and Jay-Z as witnesses until their legal team provided alibis, once again placing them near the center of yet another controversy. But here is the part people cannot ignore. If Manzaro's account is even partly accurate, it suggests Beyonce may have been present at events where men were allegedly drugged, humiliated, and treated as entertainment, and that changes the entire picture. That is why Jason Lee's claims about recordings matter so much. If tapes from those gatherings exist, what exactly is captured on them? Because this is no longer about poor judgment or bad optics. This points to something bigger, a pattern, a structure, a system, and Beyonce would not be a random guest in that world. She would be positioned at the very top of it.
Diddy and Jay inseparable at the part. They just probably best friends. They probably both grew up in New York. They're New Yorkers. I don't know their relationship. I don't know what business they got going on, but they are really close with one another. They are.
Now connect the dots. Diddy's collapse has already exposed a web of people who allegedly enabled behavior behind closed doors. Jay-Z's name is now attached to lawsuits, and 50 Cent is openly calling people out in his documentary without holding back. He has repeatedly questioned Jay-Z's loyalty to Diddy, even posting old photos of them together with captions like "Friends till the end," followed by "Jay, you still there?" which sent shockwaves through the industry. With Diddy now in custody and allegations about his private events laid bare, the real question is no longer whether more names will surface. It is who will be next. If those parties were as extreme as lawsuits describe, and if Jay-Z was present, and if Beyonce was also there, that stops being a scandal and starts looking like coordination.
This is what I look for. When I see a success, I'm looking for anything
To say that they didn't do it on their own?
Detain it.
And situations like that do not stay hidden forever. They unravel piece by piece. This is not about one lawsuit or one podcast host chasing attention. It is about a timeline that keeps lining up. The parties, the lawsuits, the alleged recordings, and Jason Lee, who has made it clear he is not afraid. He is waiting. He has said he has something, and he is not backing down. Beyonce's team can apply pressure, but pressure does not erase history. It does not undo what already happened. And if those recordings are real, nothing can stop what comes next, because powerful figures like Diddy rarely fall alone. They rarely fall alone. And if Beyonce is caught on tape or tied to these allegations in any way, she is not just collateral damage. She becomes part of the collapse itself. Her team understands that, her husband understands that, and if Jason Lee is being honest, the public may be forced to understand it too. There is one massive detail almost no one is focusing on, and it is the money. Beyonce's 2025 tour is projected to be the most profitable of her career, with estimates pushing close to $500 million from ticket sales, merchandise, and streaming partnerships alone. So what if the panic behind the scenes is not just about image or headlines? What if it is about protecting assets before they start vanishing? Because Beyonce is not just a performer, she is a corporation. Parkwood Entertainment, her production company, is valued in the hundreds of millions. Ivy Park has brought in massive brand deals, and her music catalog, which she recently regained control over, generates nonstop royalties and licensing revenue. One indictment, one leaked recording, or one lawsuit that sticks could put all of that at risk. Sponsors do not sit around waiting for verdicts. They walk fast when controversy hits. Investors do not wait either. They pull out the moment headlines turn toxic, because in billion-dollar spaces, risk is not emotional, it is financial. At that level, scandal is not a PR inconvenience, it is an existential threat. Then comes the ripple effect. Beyonce's brand is built on control, empowerment, and the image of being untouchable. And that is not just storytelling, it is a business model. When networks and brands distance themselves from controversy, it is rarely about morals alone. It is about protecting profits, minimizing losses, and avoiding association. And if that image cracks even slightly, the damage does not stop at headlines. It spreads through contracts, partnerships, and long-term value in ways that cannot be easily repaired. It was never about morals. When Balenciaga cut ties, it was about liability and money. The same rule applies here, because the moment Beyonce's name is seriously linked to criminal allegations, every corporate partner starts reassessing risk immediately. From Nike to Netflix, brands do not wait around for clarity. In an era where backlash spreads in seconds online, the dominoes do not fall one by one, they crash all at once. Her team understands this reality. That is why the legal pressure is not just aimed at quieting critics, it is about protecting the entire machine. Because once that machine slows down, the empire does not wobble, it collapses, and this does not stop with her side of the fortune. Jay-Z's ongoing legal issues are a ticking clock tied directly to their shared wealth and influence.
Blistering statement. Jay-Z accuses Jane Doe's attorney of trying to blackmail him. He said further, quote, "These allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. Whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away."
Tidal is already struggling to keep pace with giants like Spotify and Apple Music. Roc Nation depends heavily on its image as a top-tier talent powerhouse, and his beverage ventures rely on the perception of him as a mogul, not a defendant. If Jay-Z's name sinks deeper into controversy, those businesses do not just take a hit, they become radioactive. When your partner's legal battles start bleeding into your own bottom line, the stakes stop being personal and become purely financial. That is why Beyonce's team is not just trying to protect her reputation, they are trying to keep the entire empire from being dragged down with him. Here is where things get even more telling. Industry sources claim Beyonce's team has quietly slowed down major moves, including album releases, tour expansions, and new brand partnerships, waiting to see how Jay-Z's assault case unfolds in court before moving forward. The official explanation is always creative timing, but that explanation feels thin. What it really looks like is a waiting game, watching to see if the pressure tightens. Because if Jay-Z is named in another lawsuit, if Beyonce's ties to Diddy's circle become impossible to deny, or if Jason Lee's recordings ever surface, every deal and every future project freezes instantly. In the music industry, momentum is everything. Wait too long and the moment slips away, tours lose impact, albums get drowned out by noise, and brands move on to the next safe option, and that is not paranoia. That is basic business survival. And then there is the catalog. Beyonce's back catalog is one of the most valuable assets in music history. But catalogs are not just about legacy. They are used as financial leverage. They are borrowed against, invested in, and treated like banks. But if her name turns toxic, those assets stop being valuable. They turn into liabilities overnight. We have seen this before. After R. Kelly's conviction, streaming platforms did not just reduce promotion, they wiped his music from playlists, algorithms, and cultural visibility entirely. If the wrong allegations stick, Beyonce could face a similar industry shutdown. And unlike others, she is not only protecting her own career, she is safeguarding a joint fortune, a family, and a legacy meant to last generations. That kind of pressure is not just emotional, it is a financial nightmare. So the real question remains, what does Beyonce know that the public does not? Because right now, her team is not just hiring lawyers. They are bracing for impact. Delaying releases, stalling announcements, and allegedly leaning on media figures does not signal confidence. It signals preparation. They are not acting like people who expect this to blow over. They are acting like people who see a storm coming and are trying to survive it. This does not look like a situation they expect to blow over. It looks like preparation for impact, and the real question is, how bad do they think this could get? Bad enough to pause a world tour, bad enough to shelve an album, bad enough to let nearly $500 million in potential revenue sit untouched while lawyers and executives wait for the legal dust to settle. That is not caution, that is fear. And fear like that does not come out of nowhere. It comes from knowing something the rest of the world does not. Maybe it is the alleged recordings. Maybe it is the lawsuits still unfolding behind the scenes. Maybe it is the quiet boardroom conversations where sponsors are already drafting exit strategies. Whatever the reason, one thing is clear. Beyonce's team is not just fighting a PR battle, they are bracing for financial fallout. And if the people closest to the situation are this shaken, it raises a serious question for everyone watching. So let's ask the real question, what is on those tapes? Because if lawyers are this aggressive about silencing the noise, this does not feel like gossip. It feels like fear of evidence. And evidence does not disappear quietly. It gets played, it gets leaked, it gets used. If that happens, this is not about losing a crown or a headline. It is about an empire at risk. Now we want to hear from you. Do you think Jason Lee really has the recordings? Or is this just another high-stakes PR battle spiraling out of control? Drop your theories in the comments. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, share it with others, and stay locked in.